Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about performing off of a tablet. I know that it can be a little bit of a scary thing to think about if you've never done it before and you've only used paper sheet music. I think it's really fun to read sheet music off of a tablet. Personally, I use an iPad and I use the app Forscore. But you know, with any kind of technology, glitches happen, accidents happen, and so if you've never performed on a tablet before, it can feel a little bit daunting. So today I'm going to go over some of the most common fears when it comes to performing from a tablet, especially for the first time, and help you through finding solutions for all of those worries. So the first big fear when it comes to performing on a tablet is, what if the battery dies? Because, you know, paper music, as long as you keep it away from the elements, it should last for a very long time. A tablet though, the battery is naturally going to die after a little bit if it's not plugged in. So of course, charge your tablet before you perform or before a day of rehearsals, whatever you have going on that you need the tablet for. Always bring a charger with you just in case anything happens, or you know, if you know that you have a long day of playing off of your tablet coming up, you might want to charge your tablet during the down moments of your day, like while you're eating or in between rehearsals or during a break even. Definitely kind of stress test your tablet. How long does it reliably last while reading sheet music before the battery gets down to 20% or even dies? Use whatever you find to kind of dictate how long you're comfortable using the tablet for on one charge. If you find that your tablet is kind of unreliable, check if you're on the newest software update, if all of your apps are up to date. You can always do some research and see if whatever model you have has any battery issues, or if it's super old and the battery just isn't performing the way that it used to. You might want to look into getting your battery replaced even, just to give you a fresh start. But if your tablet does have a healthy battery, make sure you charge it before you're playing events, along with any accessories that you have, like a pen or a pedal, anything else. Always carry around a charger so that you can charge in those in-between moments, or in case anything happens, you can hopefully revive the tablet with the charger as well. All right, the second big fear that I hear often is, what if the screen dims or if it even goes to sleep? So most of the sheet music reading apps out there have a feature or setting built in where you can keep the screen from going to sleep or getting dim while you're in that app, so that you can read sheet music for as long as your tablet battery goes for, and it's going to stay awake for all of that. So be sure that that setting is selected. And I do have a Forscore Friday on that video. So if you use Forscore, definitely check out that video. The playlist of my Forscore Fridays is linked down below. Or if you go over to my blog, lifefromtheviolasection.com, I have all of the Forscore Fridays that I'm going to mention, because spoiler alert, I'm going to share some of those tutorials because they're easy if you use that app. They will all be embedded in the blog post so that you can easily just reference them all there. So definitely go check out my blog. It is linked in the description box. Our third fear today is, what if the page doesn't turn? And to that I say, what if you're using paper sheet music and your stand partner forgets to turn the page? Or if you're playing outside and the wind takes your sheet music? Or if the pages stick together and you have to spend a moment finagling all that? Page turns are difficult no matter what format you're doing them in. At any moment of change in music, whether it's doing a string crossing or shifting or turning a page or pressing a pedal, those moments where you're doing something different from kind of the status quo, those are going to be the hardest. Even if turning a page isn't necessarily hard, or pressing a pedal to turn a page isn't necessarily hard, it might take you out of the zone for just a little bit of a moment. It's something different from what you were doing. And I would make a set list for any group of pieces that you're practicing or performing all in one go. That way you just turn the page and it goes to the next score. That way when you're done with one piece of music, if you turn the page with the pedal or just by tapping on the screen, it will automatically go to the next piece as well, so that between pieces you don't have to worry about finding the right score somewhere in the app. Do that work ahead of time. Put things in a set list. If you're repeatedly going through different pieces in a performance or in a rehearsal or just through the week, I also highly recommend using tabs if you're in Forscore, and I believe other sheet music apps offer this as well. Just having your most used pieces all in tabs, and then you just tap on the different tab for whatever piece you need to go to next. It's super easy, and it's really made teaching through the week for myself a lot easier since I started actually using the tabs. If you have a very difficult page turn or something that just isn't really possible, and maybe in the past you would have scanned the page and like taped it on the stand, you could try using half page turns where, at least in Forscore, which is what I know, so that's what a lot of my examples are going to be, which is where you tap on the pedal and the top half of the page becomes the top half of the next page. You tap on the pedal again, and this lingering part from the page before then becomes the rest of that new page. Hope that made sense in words. I find that using a pedal is really easy and it doesn't really take me out of the zone. So highly recommend using a pedal if you play an instrument that allows you to do so. I know piano, organ, harp, things with multiple pedals, it can be really difficult to add a foot pedal for your tablet in there as well. There are also all different kinds of page turns that you can do through gestures in Forscore as well. I do have a video on that, so check that out if you're interested. But bottom line is there's always going to be some sort of risk when it comes to page turns, so don't worry about it anymore with your tablet than you do with paper sheet music. Just practice your page turns, practice page turns in a couple different ways, and then you'll be set and ready to go. All right, our fourth fear is what if the app crashes or if it freezes or glitches out? And glitches are always going to happen with technology, and things are going to go wrong in a performance no matter what kind of sheet music you're using. Your bow could explode. Your E string could snap. You could trip and fall. You could come in at the wrong entrance. Something is always going to happen, but always be sure that your tablet is up to date on its operating system and that whatever apps you use when you're performing are all up to date. Now, sometimes new updates can cause glitches, but hopefully if it's not a major update, those little updates in between fix the glitches. You can also Google, or if it's an app that I use, you can comment in any of my YouTube videos and see if I have struggled with it, and if I have any thoughts, I'm always happy to try to help. But, you know, glitches are gonna happen. No matter what happens, know that as a professional musician, you can handle it. All right, fear number 5 is what if I tap the wrong thing and it takes me to a wrong piece, or it leaves the app, or it opens up a menu, or some kind of crazy thing where I don't know how to get back. At least in Forscore, and I think in other apps as well, there's usually a performance mode, and that was my most recent Forscore Friday for this week. So definitely go check that out if you would like some tips on that. But otherwise, you know, just try not to touch the screen when you're performing and you don't need to. And if you need to for a page turn, just try to aim very deliberately to where you need to. And hopefully that is going to kind of negate all of those things. All right, our 7th fear is what if the tablet breaks? And again, anything can break. Your instrument could break. Someone could sit on your bow. Someone could spill something on your paper sheet music and ruin it. There's always a risk, no matter what you use. So just treat your tablet carefully like you would your instrument, and it should be fine. If it breaks, I think you might have bigger problems anyway. So as long as you know how to perform and you know how to use your tablet before performing, I think you're going to be fine. And also, a lot of tablets are expensive. So a lot of us treat them very nicely because they're expensive, and we don't want to have to pay to fix it or have to pay to replace it either. So, you know, just treat your items with respect. Hopefully they will stay nice and safe. All right, a really big fear, number 8 today, is what if I forget the charging cable or the pedal or any other accessories? So I highly recommend having a gig bag kind of ready to go with the accessories and pencils and those things that are often forgotten or that you don't want to have to think about packing every single time. So to do this, you may have to purchase an extra tablet charger, an extra pedal charger, and any extras that you need just so that they can stay packed all the time. But if you already have them packed and ready to go, then hopefully you don't have to worry. But, you know, if this is like a one-off gig where like you don't usually take your tablet out of the house, but now you are, always double check to make sure that the things are packed. But if you have like a specific place in a bag for all of those things, I think that that can be really helpful, that you know, okay, pedal charger is always going to be right here. iPad charger is always going to be right here. My Apple Pencil goes in this sleeve or something like that. And then you just check those spots, make sure that everything is there. If not, then you can run and grab a backup or your usual one and add that to the gig bag as well. But the point is really just have these things packed already so that you don't have to think like, oh, wait, I forgot my pedal charger. Oh, wait, I'm using this thing this time, so I need to get the charger for that. If you've already thought through it and planned it out, it's going to be a lot less stress when you need it. And if you are using your tablet regularly, like if you're at college and you use it for rehearsals and practicing every day and performances very often, you might just want to keep dedicated chargers in your instrument case or something where you know, like, okay, if I have my tablet with me, I'm always going to have my instrument with me because I use my tablet to play sheet music. Then just make sure that everything has a home. That's going to make it a lot easier to be sure that you have all of the chargers that you need. Our next fear is, what if I can't annotate my score fast enough? Because, you know, if you've been using paper sheet music for a long time, you're probably very used to just writing on it like any piece of paper, but it can feel a little bit different on a tablet. Definitely, you know, practice writing in your tablet. Get used to all of the different annotation tools and all of the features and what you can do. If you use Forscore, I go over lots of the annotation features in many of those videos, and they are linked in the blog post. So I think generally the more that you write on your tablet, the more that you get into a flow and you get used to finding where things are and writing on this new surface quite a bit. And it hopefully shouldn't take too long to zoom in and then write whatever you need and zoom back out again, which is generally my workflow. But, you know, different apps, different tablets, different people are all different. If it's still too slow, maybe you can think of the usual, like your most common markings that you add to music, maybe like eyeglasses or down bows and up bows, those things. Maybe you can create stamps for those different things and put them in your toolbar. That way you just tap on like the down bow and then you tap to add a down bow wherever you want in the sheet music. Maybe that could cut down on some of the annotation time if you find that manually doing it is just a little bit too slow. Another fear is judgment in using a tablet when you're performing, and it's gotten really, really common in classical music now to use a tablet in orchestras, in chamber music, and in solo performances. I've all seen people with tablets. Not everybody uses one, but through the years, I've seen more and more and more and more. So if anything, think of yourself as a trendsetter. And honestly, other people seeing you use a tablet might make them want a tablet to read sheet music off of. That's how it happened with me. I saw other people using iPads for sheet music, these huge 12.9-inch screens with the Apple Pencil, and I saw how beautiful and flawless it was, and then it made me really want to get that as well. And it was definitely worth it. I love it so much, if you can't tell from my channel. But don't worry about what other people think of you. Don't worry about other people. Hopefully they won't really worry about you unless you're doing something wrong. And using a tablet isn't wrong unless a director has told you so or something. Another fear is not being able to find your files when you need them. So always double check all of the email threads that you have the most up-to-date and accurate version of the sheet music, especially if you're doing a gig or like some kind of new music performance where maybe a composer has changed things a bunch of times before the performance. Make sure that you have the up-to-date one. And of course, if you have any question or concern about it, just ask. Or download all of the versions and make sure that they're in your Files app or at least somewhere in your file management system. Even if not all of the versions are in your sheet music reading app, if they're all within your files, you can always ask someone backstage before the show starts, like, hey, is this the right version? And if it's not, you can put the correct version that you already have on your tablet into your sheet music app, and hopefully all will be well. That being said, if you accidentally delete something or if you just can't find it while you're in your performance, if you have all of the sheet music backed up within your file management system software, then that will be a backup for you. You can go over to your files, find that, and import it back into your sheet music reading app, and then hopefully all will be well. Another fear about pedals is, what if it makes noise during a concert and it's distracting? So if you have a foot pedal or any other device that you use to turn pages, practice it in a variety of different ways. Practice pressing it in different ways, in different spots, on different surfaces, in a very quiet environment, and see what kind of sounds it makes. My favorite pedal is silent when you press it. I have another pedal though that I've been trying out that is really, really loud every time it's a loud click. I would not use that for concerts, because if it's a quiet moment, it would be super distracting and the audience would be able to hear it. So definitely experiment with it. If you absolutely hate it, maybe you should look for a different pedal. See if there are any modifications you should make about where you sit the pedal or the way that you press it down or anything to keep it as quiet as possible. But also, if you're playing music, there's going to be some incidental noise anyway. And unless you are doing a solo thing where you're playing pianissimo, or if there's complete silence and you need to turn the page, I think that's really the only time to really worry about that. The final fear that I would like to dispel today is, what if notifications pop up during a performance and distract me? So even when you have Do Not Disturb on, I find that sometimes I will still get notifications. They will just be silenced. So there are a couple different ways that you can fix this. If you are using an iPad, you could make a focus mode specifically for performing where it does not show you any notifications and it's silent. Or another reliable method to use is to put your tablet on airplane mode so that no notifications are coming through. I did make a Forscore Friday about that, so that is in the blog post if you would like to see it. But, you know, all tablets have an airplane mode. You just turn that off, or at least turn off your Wi-Fi. Make sure that your Bluetooth is still on if you're using a pencil and a pedal, because you still want those to connect. You just don't want the internet connection to bring in notifications. So those are all the fears that I wanted to talk about today. If you have any other fears that I didn't talk about today, please, if you're comfortable, leave them down below. I would be happy to help you out and maybe even make a part 2. If you have any solutions to these problems that I did not talk about today, please feel free to share them down below so that you can help others as well. I would love to see that. And I will see you again next week for another video. Thank you so much for watching.